Giri Hari Gopi Jana Bala Giri Hari Yashoda Nandana Prasha Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prasha Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jaya Rana Madhava Kunjabihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad-bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 22, several verses again today, verses 26 through, I think, 32, before we get a purport. So this is verse chant 26. Gandhayan Kritarashtrasya Jagye Putra Shatanripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Nushala Chapi Kanyaka Gandharyan Dhritarashtrasya Jagye Putra Shatanripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Nushala Chapi Kanyaka Ayan Dhritarashtrasya Chagye Putra Shatangripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Dushala Tapi Kanyaka Daryang Dhritarashtrasya Chagye Putra Shatangripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Dushala Chapi Kanyaka Gandharya Dhritarashtrasya Chagye Putra Shatangripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Dushala Chapi Kanyaka Gandharya Dhritarashtrasya Chagye Putra Shatangripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Dushala Chapi Kanyaka Chagye Putra Shatangripa Tatra Duryodhano Jeshto Dushala Chapi Kanyaka Word for word, Gandharyam. In the womb of Gandhari, Dhritarashtrasya, of Dhritarashtra, Jagye, were born, Putra Shatam, 100 sons, Ripa, O King Parikshit, Tatra, among the sons, Duryodhana, the son named Duryodhana, Jeshtaha, the eldest, Dushala, Cha Api, also, Kanyaka, one daughter. Translation: Dhritarashtra's wife, Gandhari, gave birth to 100 sons and one daughter. O king, the oldest of the sons was Duryodhana, and the daughter's name was Dushala. Repeat after me. Dhritarashtra's wife, Gandhari, gave birth to 100 sons and one daughter. O king, the oldest of the sons was Duryodhana, and the daughter's name was Dushala. No purport in this verse. we go to the next verse. Pandu was restrained from sexual life because of having been cursed by a sage, and therefore his three sons, Yudhisthira, Bhima, and Arjuna, were begotten through the womb of his wife Kunti by Dharmaraj, by the demigod controlling the wind, and by the demigod controlling the rain, three different demigods. Pandu's second wife, Madri, gave birth to Nakula and Sahadeva, who were begotten by the two Ashvini Kumaras. The five brothers, headed by Yudhisthira, begot five sons through the womb of Draupadi. These five sons were your uncles. This is Sukadeva Goswami, and he's speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. So they're the uncles of Maharaj Parikshit. Going to the next. From Yudhisthira came a son named Prati Vindhya. From Bhima, a son named Shrutasena. From Arjuna, a son named Shrutakirti. And from Nakula, a son named Shatanika. O king, the son of Sahadeva was Shrutakarma. Furthermore, Yudhisthira and his brothers begot other sons and other wives. Yudhisthira begot a son named Devaka through the womb of Oravi, and Bhimasena begot a son named Gatotkacha through his wife Hidimba, and a son named Sarvagata through his wife Kali. Similarly, Sahadeva had a son named Suhotra through his wife named Vijaya, who was the daughter of the king of the mountains. Nakula begot a son named Naramitra from his wife named Karanumati. Similarly, Arjuna begot a son named Niradhan from his wife known as Ulupi, the daughter of the Nagas, and a son named Vahana by the womb of the princess of Manipur, Vahana, became the adopted son of the king of Manipur. Srila Prabhupada's purport. It is to be understood that Parvati is the daughter of the king of the very, very old mountainous country known as the Manipur state. 5,000 years ago, therefore, when the Pandavas ruled, Manipur existed, as did its king. Therefore, this kingdom is a very old aristocratic Vaishnava kingdom. If this kingdom is organized as a Vaishnava state, this revitalization will be a great success, because for 5,000 years this state has been maintained, has maintained its identity. If the Vaishnava spirit is revived there, it will be a wonderful place, renowned throughout the entire world. Manipur Vaishnavas are very famous in the Vaishnava society. In Vrindavan and Navadvip, there are many temples constructed for the king of Manipur. Some of our devotees belong to the Manipur state. The Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, can be well spread, Krishna consciousness will be well spread in the state of Manipur by the cooperative efforts of the Krishna consciousness devotees. Oh my God, it's Madame Nashna, Chakshuru Nidikami, So, we're reading here that Manipur, as exists today, has been there at least since 5,000 years ago, at least, which is unusual, and has been a Vaishnava state throughout. And of course, this is also an example of what other places in the world could become like if they became Vaishnava states. Even in the Western countries, if people become Krishna conscious, then the whole state, the whole social arrangement could change, at least in certain places. And of course, this is Srila Prabhupada's desire that, as far as possible, you make the places that are around us more and more Krishna conscious. This is a very great mission of Lord Chaitanya, a very great mission of the Acharyas like Srila Prabhupada. We can think, oh, Miami, this area here, how will they ever become Krishna conscious? Everyone's so much absorbed in simply sense gratification. But of course, people are also suffering. So if just like Krishna has his, he manages things within the material universe. He does two things. One, he gives some misery, some difficulty. So we think, oh, I'm not really happy here. And then and on the other side, he gives, for those who want it and are ready for it, the opportunity to take up the path of Krishna consciousness. And of course, as Kali Yuga goes on, the miserable parts will become more and more miserable, for sure. And at the same time, Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement is going on, so people are, even without knowing it, they're getting some purification. They're getting some spiritually pious activities. This is the path. Srila Prabhupada says we don't know. It's just as he said, he gave the example, just like you're flying in a jet plane. So jet planes go pretty fast, 600 or 700 miles an hour, or maybe faster than that. Now I'm not sure. And so you're flying in a jet plane, and you're how high? Maybe 5 miles high during much of the trip. But you have very little understanding of how fast you're going and how high you're flying. Maybe how high, if you look out the window, you get an idea. How fast? You can't really conceive of it unless they're posting these, little TV screens on some of the planes that shows how fast the plane's going. But the point is, so Srila Prabhupada gave that example as in relationship to becoming Krishna conscious. We don't know we don't really understand how high we are flying in terms of becoming more and more Krishna conscious, or we don't know. Of course, to some degree, we can experience Krishna consciousness, but people don't, in general, know how much spiritual benefit they may be getting from in terms of becoming Krishna conscious. When the time comes, then it becomes more and more manifest to us. so people in general, they may be largely engaged in their activities of sense gratification. This is material life. Even Vedic culture, most people, although they try to do it according to the Vedas, most people were interested in sense gratification. So people in modern times are also engaged in sense gratification, but they're also getting, without knowing it, a certain spiritual benefit. Just like we chant, just like in our temple here, we have kirtan, we have deity service, different things. Most people in the city are not coming here and seeing what we're doing, but because we are doing this, then the spiritual benefit just goes out like waves, and people are being affected. Some because they're hearing the holy name, some just because they happen to be in the same area where devotional service is going on. Just like I mentioned the other day, the 5,000 years ago in Naimisharanya, the original Naimisharanya forest, the great sages came together and they planned a 1,000 year long Srimad-bhagavatam class. We went over many, day after day, but it was a planned, a continuous discussion of Srimad-bhagavatam, and they did it in Naimisharanya because Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, because Naimisharanya is considered to be, because of the way the universe is set up, it's considered to be the hub of the universe, like the center practically. So they did it there with the idea that we'll perform the sacrifice here, but every living entity in the whole universe will be getting spiritual benefit from their big Srimad-bhagavatam class. So of course we don't have a big Srimad-bhagavatam big like there, but for sure even those who are in the area that are around us, I don't know how far around it may go. I guess it could go everywhere. Simply having discussion about Krishna is producing a certain spiritual benefit for everyone, not just those who are practicing it, but those who are getting it's called agyata sukriti. And agyata sukriti, sukriti means pious activities, and agyata means without knowing. Jnana is knowledge, and agyata means without knowing it. So people are getting spiritual benefit. And of course there are three kinds of pious activities, three kinds of sukriti, but we're performing certain activities, we're getting that spiritual, that sukriti. Depending on what you are aspiring for, it'll help you to advance in that way. So there's one kind, which is people performing different kind of material pious activities, resulting in maybe going to the heavenly planets, or building up some good karmas, and in the next lifetime they'll be able to get more material enjoyment, things like that. That's one kind of pious activity. Another pious activity, which is a little more transcendental, is for those who are aspiring to merge into the Brahmajyoti. We don't do this, but those who want that, there are certain activities you do which actually are favorable that will help you to go there. And then the third kind, the most important kind, is the kind of spiritual activities that will lead one towards devotional service, lead one to gradually coming to the point where they say, oh, I really need to seek out a bona fide spiritual master. Oh, I really need to, get my life together. Maybe I can become vegetarian or something. I become, uh, and gradually by that Ajata Sukriti, the people become Krishna conscious. They start becoming Krishna conscious. Of course, you don't become fully Krishna conscious without making, conscious endeavor. Someone might, because of that Agyata Sukriti, people eventually come to the point they say, "Oh, gee, I've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years. I never even saw your building here. I never even saw your temple." They walk by it every day, but they never actually saw it. And then at one point, they say, "Oh, I saw it. I became interested. I wanted to come in and see what's going on here." Yeah, because the pious activities have been built up from maybe good works on their part. Maybe they gave a donation somewhere for Krishna. Maybe they, or they're getting spiritual benefit from what's going on in the temple that they don't realize they're getting. But somehow or other, people become attracted. And of course the others, and of course the pious activities will be there. And then of course people become distracted. People become distracted because of the opportunity for sense gratification. Just like on the heavenly planets, even you have to be a devotee of Krishna to be there, but you become distracted by so much opportunity for sense gratification. It's really hard to concentrate on spiritual life. So same thing here. Sense gratification is not so great, but people become distracted by it. As long as I think that I can enjoy this world more and more, then there's no real interest in spiritual life. But when things become very miserable, like when there's, such as like when back in, I get through many examples. I know back in the before I was born, back in the 1930s, there was what was called the Great Depression. A lot of people had no work. People were, economically, people were really struggling to get by. But during that time, historically, a lot more people were going to church, going and becoming, realizing, hey, I'm suffering like anything. I better go and pray to God at least, So same thing. Kali Yuga will go on materially, and things will become worse. But at least during this period of Kali Yuga, which is the Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan golden era, Sankirtan movement era. So during this time, people are on one hand suffering more and more, becoming more and more dissatisfied in many ways, and then on the other side, the more and more opportunity when they are ready to take up the path of Krishna consciousness. And this is, of course, what we who have gotten this opportunity now, and we presently have this kind of opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. This is what our duty to Srila Prabhupada, to our spiritual masters, to the previous acharyas, to Lord Chaitanya. Our duty is to see how we can give people that opportunity to become Krishna conscious. So, Srila Prabhupada said that time will come that people will become by the hundreds to our temples and to our farms. We don't have a farm here, but some places there are devotee farms with lots of land, and maybe people become so miserable in the cities they just can't stay there, and they become more and more people become attracted to take shelter of Krishna or Krishna. So. And Srila Prabhupada sometimes talks about, and he actually is talking about large-scale wars back in Srila Prabhupada's time, like the World War, as was mentioned it. He also said that it was held back because of so much devotional service that was going on in the world at the time. But he said if there was such a war, a big-scale war, then there'd be a lot of difficulty, but afterwards the preaching would become very, very good, because people their sense gratification, opportunity for sense gratification would be dropped. They wouldn't have that. So of course you want to find your happiness somewhere, and then you start taking shelter of God. And then if they see that the Hare Krishna devotees are there and are still going on and chanting and kirtan, and there's prasadam everywhere, as we usually don't have any shortage of prasadam, it seems. So people start becoming more and more attracted to the path of Krishna consciousness, at least for some time, and many will become serious about it. And that's not way this Sankirtan will go to every town and village in the world. And that was Lord Chaitanya's prediction. It would spread to every town and village in the world. And I'm sure there are still some towns and villages that don't have it, but it's certainly gone. It's been spread very, very far, this Krishna consciousness movement. It's going everywhere. So at least we should try to do our part here in our local Miami temple. Continue the programs. Try to encourage people to come to the temples, see our beautiful deities, join in the kirtans, hear the classes. Actually, our temple is called, a lot of the temples have alternate names. Besides the official legal name, like ISKCON Miami, we have our alternate name, and ours is New Naimisharanya. And we adopted that name during Srila Prabhupada's visit to Miami back in 1975. I wasn't with Srila Prabhupada when he was speaking, but I know there was some discussion about the sages and Naimisharanya and like that. But immediately at that time, immediately afterwards, we took that name as New Naimisharanya, and the idea was that we would have regular. We would really have and promote regular discussions of Krishna consciousness, Srimad-bhagavatam Class, Bhagavad Gita class, maybe other kinds of seminars, all kinds of things we were talking about back then. We just always seemed to not do it as much as we'd like to, but that was the idea. Temple could become known in that way, and it would attract people in general, not just the devotees, but the people in general, to want to come and hear about Krishna. We also at some point in the past, we were, to attract people to the temple. We had this idea of bringing people, non-devotees, you have like you can have bus tours, but non-devoted bus tours. You go to where they go to these days. You people go for vacation, visit a different place. So on the tour, one of the stops could be to come to the temple. Of course, they may not be interested in many cases in Krishna consciousness specifically, but we have this very unique altar, and of course our deities on the altar. But this particular altar was built by, I believe, it said, people who the company in India that made it. They said these were the descendants of the people who did the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal has no spiritual significance. The people who know of it, it's famous everywhere. So this particular, these were he said that the descendants of the marble workers that carved the Taj Mahal, for example. So so that is an advertisement. uh, we can put that out there. And bring people to the temple. They come in here, they see the deities. Maybe we have some. But we don't have our dining hall open. But if that was going on at the time we were talking about it, it was open. And the people who come regularly. It's like in New Vrindavan, they've got people come by buses. At least in the warmer weather, there's thousands and thousands of people coming every year to see their community, and especially show off its palace of gold. So we have things. What we have what we have here. It's a very nice facility, and that way we can bring people here. They can get prasadam. They can hear the holy names. They can get books. Get books. Maybe even we had maybe part of the bus. Part of the package, we say, if they came like that everyone there, because they're paying something to come. So that everyone who would come here, we would have maybe even make sure everyone got at least one book, even if they could buy more books also. Everyone would get prasadam, everyone would get a book, everyone would see that we have here. Anyway, this is, but the idea anyway is overall we want to see how we can do our part in this kind of Miami, United Shrine, and give people around the opportunity for Krishna consciousness. You never know when something will take it up. We all had our contacts at some point. Somehow or other we were ready, and that's why we're here now. Right. Anyway, there's a couple of points. Any questions, comments? Okay. Yeah, they build it. They build it in pieces. You can see the joints there. Yeah, we had a temple room was full of, when we came here, we had, how many crates do we have? The whole temple room was filled with crates filled with pieces of marble. And then everybody's here, somebody put it together. Yeah. I asked the same question. How are you going to bring something so big? Oh, well, you just put it in pieces, bring it in, have it made in pieces. I went to the place. It was near Jaipur. Big marble mines, white marble there. And I saw they had certain parts of this.
The same mindset is why
Probably, yes. Yeah, I think that might have been who was over. Yes, like that. And this, although we have this thing cemented together like that, but it's actually made. It doesn't require any cement or anything. You build it up and it stays together on its own. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. There is some glue in there, but actually it stands up without it. We put the glue or the cement or something in there when it was built, but it was actually just like the arch. I saw the arch and the dome and all those put together, they had to make sure it fit. So I saw all that there, one of the arches with the dome and everything, already put together, and it was nothing holding it together. It's just the weight of it, the weight of the interlock. They got their way of doing it. So we have a little cement or glue or something in there. That's how we do it in this country. But I don't know if that would have been done like that. Because originally the idea was that the same people that carved it, we were going to bring them here. So they were going to put it together. But in the process, the change of administration and everything kind of didn't happen that way. So we got these things here, but we got the marble here, but we didn't with the other part of bringing the people from India. We got canceled by the smash. Somehow it was put together, not completely perfectly, but I guess no one would ever know. I'm sure the plans. Huh? What year? It was probably around 2000 or so. We got it because of marble. I don't remember exactly. I got all the paperwork. I scanned and kept all the records. 89? 99. Well, it was probably before 2000 that it actually marble and everything was actually here. It took some years before that, it took them some time to get it to complete the work before we got it here. So it was probably the mid. I can look it up if you're interested. I kept scanned all the documents. Yeah, we had all the crates with marble in it over here, right? Anyway, that was what was going on. And then this Srimad-bhagavatam was made similar to the one in Bombay, Mumbai now, Bombay back then. Except a little bit simpler. They had elephants, but it was basically the same, similar model, similar plan. And we still have the blueprint for this. It's upstairs. Okay.
We have a different available. 6:45 p.m.
Oh, yeah? We'll be on the altar. We're dressed in the yeah. We're just starting on that. We're dressed in deities and stuff. Okay, so in for now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.